their faith. And in 1:8, I think Reverend Jones touched on he said faith, it comes by hearing. And Pastor came in after he had heard that. And what it actually stated that we know it comes by hearing, but the hearing is putting it out there. It's putting the faith out there. How you got to get the faith is that you got to work for it. You know, because, ain't no faith. Once it's established, Paul is putting it out there for them to know that their faith is strong, but you got to work at it. You got to put your faith in it real strong and work at it. And then as we put to 1 and 9, the assurance that Paul was giving them is that as God is his witness, that he will pray for all of us at all times. He'll pray for everybody in Rome at all times. If it's God's will. And as we move on to question 16, which is 1 and 11, and the two reasons that Paul was given was that the spiritual gift, okay? The spiritual gift came from God. And what he wanted to do was Paul wanted to get the spiritual gift that came to him. He wanted to give it to the people in Rome so they can give it and then they can also pass it on. And then also in closing, we had a topic that Pastor brought out, and it went as, does your sin change your anointing? We had everybody participating in that with their different questions, so we stated that was done. But that was a good topic to start off on or end with, and we left off as just as the question was, does your sin change your anointing?
All right. Can't put it no better than how Deacon Jackson put it every week. And again, we find out that Paul is writing this letter to the Romans, and he's yearning to be there with them, but he can't make it there yet. He hadn't made it there yet. But he said, like I said, as God is his witness, even though he has not made it there and can't make it to them yet, what he can do is continue to pray for them. And here's the thing, the reason why Paul wanted to get out there, because again, he wanted to impart some spiritual gift unto them, which really he wanted to share with them what he knew about the gospel. And the reason why he wanted to do that, he said he wanted to strengthen them in the gospel. Because what we have to understand is that the faith had grown so much in Rome to where they was now starting to be persecuted. So now it's important for Paul to try to get there to strengthen them in their belief system so that they don't fall away through this persecution. You know how we do sometimes when people, first find out you're Christian and, it's all right for a little while, but as you continue to grow in it and start doing things, then they want to put the pressure on you. You think you're all that, and then sometimes you seem to shy away from it because there's, opposition now. But Paul was like, no, I want to strengthen you, and watch this, and strengthening you, you also will strengthen me. Because you're going to share with me what it is that you know. And again, they just didn't hear the word of God and hear the good news. They put action to their hearing. So again, like Pastor said last week, it's more than just hearing. In hearing, you ought to do. Because if you heard what, and Mama said, if you heard what I said, why you ain't getting up doing what I told you to do? Yeah, and if she had to say it more than once, it was some trouble. Yeah. And I believe God is telling us that right now. If you heard what I said, why ain't we getting up doing what he told us to do? And again, that's a faith building. So I believe we stopped off at, what verse we stopped at? 11, was it?
Yeah, we stopped off at 12.
At 12?
No, at 11.
At 11. So here Paul says in verse 11, he said, "For I long to see you, Okay, that I may impart unto you some spiritual gift, to the end you may be established. So again, he longed to see them through the imparting of spiritual. Again, he says spiritual gift, to the end that you may be established. Again, this word established means strengthened. He said, that is, that I may be comforted together with you by the mutual faith, both of you and me. So again, it says the mutual faith. It's one faith, and it's the one gospel. But what he's saying is we all the same body of Christ. And we know that Paul was going around and he was making all these churches. And all these churches, he wanted to strengthen every church he did with the word of God, with the gospel of God. Because if you don't have a firm foundation of the gospel, then where do your faith lie? You know, we still have people that go to church for 10, 20 years, don't even know if they die whether they're going to go to heaven or not. When the Bible clearly tells us we ought to know where we're going. We ought to know that we're saved. So he said, now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purpose to come unto you, but was led hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you also, even as among other Gentiles. Now again, listen to what he said. Now I would not have you ignorant, brethren, that oftentimes I purpose to come unto you, but was led hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you also, even as among other Gentiles. So can somebody try to explain what Paul was saying there?
Is this almost at the part where that he hasn't gotten home, but he's letting us know that he was that he's trying to get to Rome?
Yeah, he's trying to get there. Okay. He hasn't made it there yet. He'd heard about them, and he heard about the things they've been doing and the troubles they may be going through as being persecuted, and he's trying to get there. But again, he has not made it there yet.
He hasn't got there yet.
He hadn't got there yet. So he said, I don't want to have y'all, ignorant or blind to the fact. He said, I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to get there. He said that I want to come. I've been asking the Lord to come to see about y'all. He said, but guess what? I've been hindered. I can't get there yet. It's not time for me to come yet. But then why was it so important that he wanted to come? He said
that he might have some fruit.
Yeah. He said his whole purpose to come there, number one, he wanted to strengthen his brother. And he wanted to be strengthened by his brother. And he wanted to be on the same page with the same gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ. And then watch this. And then he said, watch this. Not only do I want to come and strengthen you, but he said, there's some folks out there that ain't been saved. He said, I want to get some of that fruit out there. He said, I want to get some of these people out here saved. I ain't going to let y'all have all the fun saving these folks. He said, I want to partake in some of this. He said, so when I strengthen y'all, not only am I going to strengthen y'all, but then I'm going to go out there and get me some fruit from out here. He said, I'm going to get me some people, and I'm going to try to convert them too.
Well, verse 14 says that he's there
Mm-hmm.
to both Greeks and the barbarians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so he said, I want to get, what if we had that same passion as Paul? Everywhere we went, we want to bear some fruit. we want to get people, you know, everywhere we went, we want to get people saved.
Don't worry,
You know, we always complain about our community and our neighborhoods and whatnot. But are we putting in the work to try to change the community? Because the only way that's going to be changed is if these people get saved. As long as they walking around in the world, they blind. I know when I was out there, I did the same thing. I spent thousands of dollars to get them big speakers in my cars to make all that noise, thinking it was cool. Ride around drinking and smoking and hanging out. Thought I was having a good time. Not knowing every day I jumped in that car and did what I did, I was taking penitentiary chances. That wasn't on my mind at that point in time. Because guess what? I was blind. But it was not until I came into the Lord till He opened up my whole understanding that what I was doing was foolish. You know, He showed me a more excellent way. A way I ain't got to worry about nobody kicking in my door and taking me off to jail. A way I ain't got to worry about the police riding behind me if I left something in the car or not. But it's only until we get these people the good news to them. And we find out about that later on in the text. Because just like Barbara J. just said, he said, I purpose to come unto you, but was led hitherto, that I might have some fruit among you, also even as among other Gentiles. So now he just didn't want to bear fruit there in Rome, but he said like he been doing throughout the whole world. This was his mission, to bring the gospel, the good news, and set up churches for God to all the Gentiles across the world. So then in verse 13 he says, I am a debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise. So when he said he was a debtor both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, what was he really talking about?
That he had to speak to both. He's better than Christ.
Yeah.
And he's come to say, to talk to the saved as well as the unsaved. That is what he's talking about.
So he said he was indebted. So how was he indebted? Barbara J, she spoke on it, but I don't know if y'all heard, she said it real fast. So I'm just trying to get them to participate. I heard what you said. You said it, but I don't know if they was listening.
In other words, Paul made a commitment to God, and I owe this to you to get this debtor out of these people.
And why did he owe it?
Because of the change that God had made in him.
Okay.
And he wanted to spread the word to everybody he could and do everything that he could to prove to not only to the Gentiles, to himself, but to the Gentiles as well. That God is a sovereign God and he keeps on doing what he says he's going to do.
So just like Barbara J said, and just like all y'all said, he was indebted
To the Lord.
first to Christ.
That's right.
Number one, we indebted because we was bought with the price of his blood. He paid a debt that we could not pay. And all he asks for us to do is to believe and have faith that, watch this, the work in which Jesus did on the cross paid that debt.
That's right.
And to believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God and confess him as Lord. That's all we had to do. But we find out even in doing that, even that was brought to us by grace. That we didn't even have sense enough to even do that on our own. That it was the grace of God that made us accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior. So he says, well, I owe a debt. And he said, and I'm passionate about paying this debt back.
That's it right there.
Watch this. We can pay car notes on time. Because guess what? We don't want nobody repossessing our car.
Amen.
We gonna pay our mortgage payment on time because we don't want nobody to put us out and be foreclosed. We gonna pay our cell phone bill on time because we don't want our cell phone to be shut off because Lord forbid if I had to use my landline and I ain't got no cell phone. Because you can get all the way to church and forget your cell phone, drive all the way back home to get that cell phone because you think you're going to miss some important call. I'm just saying. But hey, if they're not owe Deacon Clark $10, I got to hurry up and get them $10 back to him because I don't want to put my name out there that I don't pay. But why is it that we so short to pay the debt we owe the Lord? Yes,
You
ma'am.
said it earlier, man.
For one thing, you can't see him.
So you can't see him?
You can't see him.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You can see the clock.
I can see him.
$10, you know what you want to do.
Every time I see him, I know I owe them $10.
You owe that $10. That's conscious. What is it? Guilt of conscience? However you want to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see Christ. You can feel it. And he lives in you. The Spirit lives in you. But you can't see it. And he's a tangible item.
Yeah. And why? We so good now. I dare to go to the bank and already owe the bank, $50,000. And then watch this, be behind on that $50,000 note. And then come back around and ask them for another $150,000. What you think the bank gonna tell me?
Get lost. And give me that gold.
But we could know we ain't doing what we supposed to be doing to pay that debt to the Lord, and turn around and ask Him for another blessing.
Right, that's right.
And guess how good God is?
Every time.
He gonna give it to us. It might take a little while. It might take some snot and some crying, but guess how good that He gonna give it to us. Because guess what? He has faith in you that you gonna make good on your debt. Because He already chose you. He knew you was gonna be slow to pay it. He knew you had some hiccups, but guess what? He know you. Sooner or later you're gonna pay the debt. And all we have to do to pay the debt is tell the world your story. As simple as that. We ain't got to come up with no big extravagant words or none of that. All we have to do is tell our story. Watch this, how we made it over. How what we once used to be just like you. And guess this? But God loved me so much so. Some people ain't heard that God loved them. Some people just heard all they is sinners and God don't like sinners. They don't know that God died for their sins. Well, Jesus died for their sins. They don't know that God willing for them to make it to heaven. Simply because we're not sharing the gospel to them. And then we say, well, these kids out here, they crazy, they lost. Yeah, they lost. Because nobody is presenting the gospel to them. When I was little, whether I wanted to hear it or not, I had to hear grandma, daddy, everybody talk about the Bible in the living rooms, wherever they was. They had the Bible story books. If I wanted to hear it or not, I had to read and learn about Noah and Adam and Eve and all that stuff because that's what they was talking about. But now you see little babies, if you turn on your phone and you got Facebook or whatever, you might see a feed and you got a little 2-year-old baby get down, squatting low and popping and shaking and twerking, and adults cheering them on. Yeah. Not knowing that little baby gonna grow up to a big woman doing the same thing. But again, those are the monsters we create. And then you don't know what to do with them. But it's simply because, watch this, nobody introduced them to the gospel. So it seems to be a falling away. And my question is the falling away because we ain't paying our debt? Because if we was out there on the job and we was paying the debt we owed, and we was indebted, like Paul said, watch this, to the wise and the unwise. Watch this, to the ones in Rome and then the ones that didn't even speak their language. And then guess what? We be out there talking to everybody we come in contact with about the good news of Jesus Christ. And this is the only way the world gonna change. Is by presenting the gospel to the lost. And some that say they saved and ain't saved yet, we still need to present the gospel to them until they get it right. But he was passionate about the debt he owed. We go to work and we put in an honest day's work. If the man come up to us and say we need you to stay over another 4 hours, we're gonna pay you time now, you gonna stay. Ain't gonna complain, you ain't gonna do none of that. But here God let you go out on your own free will and come in contact with whoever you come in contact to, and all you gotta do is open your mouth and tell them that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe in him shall not die but have eternal life. And tell your story. And we go to work faithfully because we don't want to get no points and we don't want to get fired. But we go to work for God well, because he ain't got no point system. But again, what if he was handing out pink slips? What if the Lord was firing his people because we wasn't doing our job? I think it'd be a sad day for the church. Because ain't nobody doing nothing. And the reason why I know ain't nobody doing that because the world ain't changing. The world is not changing. In fact, it's getting worse. Anytime you can watch the police murder somebody, and you got the nerves to just videotape it and don't try to do nothing, and it's a gang of y'all just standing there watching it, talking about, hey, come on. You just don't know you might be next. So again, he said he's indebted. And he's passionate about paying his debt to the Lord. And he's passionate about sharing the gospel to everyone he's come in contact with. 15 says, so as much as in me is, I'm ready to preach the gospel to you that are at Rome also. He says, so as much as God has put in me and all the knowledge that is in me about the gospel, he said, I'm ready to preach it to you that are at Rome also. He said, I know I'm not there yet. I know I'm somewhere else setting up shop and preaching the gospel for the Lord. He said, but as much as in me, I want to be over there doing it with you too. He already said that he'd been praying to get out there to him. He already told him that he wanted to bear some fruit out there. He said he wants some fruit. Paul wanted fruit everywhere he went.
And you can tell, he's preaching the gospel, and he's not even there.
Yeah.
And he's let them know, like, this is what I want.
This is what I'm designing, and as soon as I get there, I'm hitting it running. And I'm preaching the gospel. Any questions so far? So question 18 says, what had Paul planned to do? And then it says, why had his plan failed?
Glad that he was trying to get the wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And, the reason why it failed is because,
It wasn't his time yet.
Yeah, it wasn't his time he reached opposition.
Yeah, it wasn't his time, it wasn't time. God had decided for it to be there.
Yeah.
That was his main, that was his main interest.
just like you said, he was somewhere else setting up,
Right.
setting up shop somewhere else, but it wasn't his quite time to get the wrong yet. But, like we say, God is the whole time God, so it's all in the plan.
There it is.
So what we learn from that as men and women of God, based on Paul's comments that he said he had longed to be there. However, it took him some time.
God had a long time here.
Mm-hmm.
What time for Paul yet? Paul was eager to go, but it wasn't God still for him to go right there. The things I guess God had to do, he could, go ahead and Paul, do some things. And then we got there, well, I don't know where he was.
No, don't keep going. So what does it say in our lives?
We have to wait on God. We have to pray, wait on God.
We have
Stop moving ourselves, stop moving this up. Ask God for something to do fast. We messed up.
Exactly. Just because we have the means, methods to do something, don't mean that God intended for us to do it. No matter how bad Paul wanted to go to Rome to help the people of Rome, he could not go aside from his time aligning with God's time. And I think a lot of us go through a lot of undue hardship and trials because we do things without consulting with God. Is it okay? Is it his will for us to do it?
Amen.
It wasn't all the time all the time that Paul was taking to get there, and he was also being strengthened in his own self. He had to make sure that Paul had the right words, the right method to meet with the Gentiles and people, because there was a lot of bad going on. There was a lot of indecision going on, a lot of strife that they was bringing. So Paul had to be on. He couldn't do it himself. He needed God to strengthen him in order to make him strong, so he could meet the people on the right level. Like you were saying earlier, Reverend Black, that it was easy to be just get out there and sin. It's hard to get out there and do the right thing when it feels so good to do wrong.
And here's the thing also, when men do it on their own time,
Yes.
oftentimes we fail miserably. You know, just like when Peter went back to fishing and he was casting that net all day long and didn't catch no fish.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the Lord came and told him to throw it on the other side, cast off into the deep, you know. And then he didn't even do it all the way, but yet he still pulled in a harvest he could just not carry. When we do things when God tells us to do it, that's when we bear much fruit. Because guess what? We are in line and we are in the proper position to receive the blessing and to bear fruit. You know, trust me, God got people right out there just for you, to me. And that's why the Bible said we bear fruit of our own kind. I can't go and bear Sister But's fruit.
Right.
Because her fruit is just for her. Because she can relate with somebody because they're going to be going through some of the same things she's been through. And she can tell that story, and she can tell it convincingly because she's been through it.
Amen.
Now, if I find someone like me, I can pull him because I already can relate to. And that's, we have to be relevant. And we have to do it out of love. And that's how God wants us to present ourselves. Because that's how he drew us in, was with love. '19 says, what did he owe? Y'all know that he owed the debt. And then it says, think, why did he owe this? And what can we learn? What can we learn about Paul and how he fulfilled his obligation to repaying his debt to Christ?
Reverend Rice.
I said, what can we learn from Paul and how he fulfilled his obligation in paying his debt to Christ? Well, Sister Bus has something to say first.
I don't believe he would felt like he was forever grateful and was a debt that he would never be able to pay. Because every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Every day that we wake up, God has given us an opportunity to witness, to help somebody. And what we did yesterday will help us for today. His new grace and mercy as we look out for somebody that we can help. This Fisher immediately. Every day is a new opportunity to reach out. So we can't say, well, I didn't pay it all. Jesus paid it all. We didn't pay it all.
Yeah, Jesus.
You know. So every day is a new day for us to witness to somebody, help somebody. So I feel like Paul that he felt forever indebted. It wasn't something he could pay. So I don't owe anything. I can just sleep it off today. I don't have to do anything.
I mean, just like Sister Bus said, every day you wake up, you know, it wasn't an alarm clock that woke you up. You know, you think it might have been the birds that was out there inside chirping loud that woke us up. It was the Lord that shook you up and told you, get up. Get up, you got something to do for me today. You know, and again, like you said, every day is wonderful. Just today, when I left therapy, I'm sitting at home and I look at the Bible study lesson. And I wasn't on the tablet, I was on my home computer. And I hear this ringing. So I look at my wife. I said, well, your phone is ringing. She said, ain't my phone, check your phone. But it was a funny ring. So I looked, my phone ain't ringing. And then I look at the tablet, and it's the tablet that's ringing. And that was my brother calling on FaceTime from his phone. Now, he's been in the rehab center up in East Chicago. You know, they had to put a trach in him and everything. But when my wife opened the tablet and see his face, he says, hello. Usually we just could read his lips. But now he was talking.
Yeah, all right.
And, you know, she just started screaming and hollering and, you talking, you know. And I was like, wow, look at God. You know, and he's looking real good. He's breathing good. I mean, well, and he ready to go, but they got to get his legs strengthened. But that's a debt he owed.
Amen.
You know, so, and we don't look at these little things, you know, because we call those things little. Because a lot of us looking for the house on the hill and all that other stuff. But really, anytime we can inhale and exhale and have activity on our limbs, guess what? God has done something amazing for us. Because we don't know what all he's kept us from.
Amen.
And watch this, and he's keeping him for a purpose. You know, and he just sitting there smiling. He said, and he told me, because, you know, he cracked jokes. He said, as soon as they get my feet on this ground. He said, I'm walking outside. He said, I'm walking outside and I'm sitting on the front porch and somebody come and get me. You know, but he's ready to hit the ground running. You know, but guess what? Jesus has saved all our lives. And we all should feel that heaviness of death. Because not only did he save us, but he blesses us.
Amen.
Tremendously every day. Every day. I can't never think of a day I went home. Even if I ain't had no money in my pocket, I had food in the cupboard. I had enough gas in my car. And then watch this, and sometimes somebody bring me by some money.
Yeah.
That's just how good he be.
That's when we need the most.
I mean, man, I can't think of nothing he didn't deny. But again, we don't look at that as much, but it is. He said, whom did he seek to preach to? So he seeks to preach to everybody. Pretty much, that's what he summed it up to. Anybody who was out there and that was going to listen, that's who he was going after. It wasn't no bypassing nobody. Yeah.
Wise and unwise.
He wasn't prejudiced of who he was going to get a gospel to. Okay, so much good church folk be prejudiced who we want to present the gospel to. We see that old drunk man staggering talking to himself, we going to walk right past him. Like he don't need Jesus. Yeah. We do it. Yeah. Paul said, I ain't walking past nobody. Whoever come by me, I'm going to get to them. Yeah. Whether they foolish or wise, I'm going to get to them. So what did Paul want to do as a result of his death?
He just said he wanted to go out and tell the word. He wanted to speak the good news. He preached.
He just wanted to preach. He just wanted to simply tell his story. And again, that's all we got to do is tell our story. Again, it ain't nothing heavy. It's just telling your story.
Amen.
But so many times we think we got to know all these big words and speak real proper. No, people need saving. And sometimes it's your story that's going to save you. A lot of times it's your story that's going to save you. Because you got a nice story to tell. And watch this, can't nobody tell your story like you can tell your story. Because don't nobody know how nasty you were but you. Don't nobody know how God has delivered you but you. You know, the funny thing to me, I remember when I first gave my life to Christ and I'm just riding in my semi-truck and I just started laughing. And this joy went over me. And it was like the Lord saying, it wasn't that bad, was it, son? And I was like, no, it wasn't that bad. He said, now you ain't got to worry about going to hell no more. And I just laughed even no more. I said, you know what, you sure right about it. Because that's where I was headed. He sure let me know that's where I was headed. But he also let me know that I had to worry about it no more. Into the application part. So what is necessary for one to be ready to preach, teach, the gospel. And then it says, are you ready to preach and teach?
Just keep studying the word.
Sister Bus says, just stay in the word, keep studying the word.
Study.
Mm-hmm.
Precept? No.
Yep.
Study.
Yes, ma'am.
Number one, we have to call,
Mm-hmm.
because the Lord teaches the Spirit, the preacher.
Well, yeah, on that type of preaching and level, as far as preaching for the pulpit, yes, you have to be called. But Paul also let us know that we all have been called by Christ. And watch this, we all have been called to watch this, not to preach. And again, that's just telling the story to the people. So what you have to be is a willing vessel. You have to be willing and ready to do so. Because
Brother teacher,
mm-hmm.
could it be we're not ready? Because unlike the Ethiopian eunuch, when he was questioned, did he understand what he was reading?
Mm-hmm.
He said, how can I understand when there's no one to teach me?
Yeah.
God has provided all these teachers and pastors across this country. However, if you look into, if you were able to peer into the windows of every church,
Yeah.
they'd be less than halfway full, a third of the way filled. So, the reason that God's people don't publish their story
Mm-hmm.
is because they, number one, they have not been taught that. Like you just said, you don't have to know a bunch of fancy words. You don't have to have a formal education in theology. But one thing every child of God should know, and that's their salvation story. Where God picked you up and brought you from. What dark place did you find yourself in? That God came where you were and brought you and delivered you into his marvelous light. So the reason that we won't share or we're not ready to teach the word of God is because we won't come and be taught ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's true. And I guess my thing, oh, come on.
But do you believe that in order for you to not necessarily be a preacher or teacher, that you would have to been and went through some stuff in order to preach or teach?
Well, when you have your own story to tell, I mean, you've been through some stuff. Anybody that's been walked this earth, it's a little 12-year-old child that's been through some things. You know, and if all they have to do is tell this story to another 12-year-old or whoever, and guess what, they're going to be able to relate to that story, what they're telling and what they've been through. You know, you just don't really understand. And I mean, the stuff that these kids are going through nowadays is terrible. You know, I see my wife come home from school some days just crying because some of the children are sharing to them, you know, what they go through. How they ain't got no food at home, and, you know, they've been wearing the same, you know, underwear and undergarments, you know what I'm saying, to where we got to try to get them, you know, it's sad, you know, because of the predicament they in.
So, do you think that if I got a story to tell,
Yeah, you got stuff.
and I don't tell my story,
We fit to talk about this in just a minute.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Because see, and this what we gonna finish this up with this last part right here. This is what Paul says. He said, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ." So he said, "I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ." What you need to get over is being ashamed of what you are. You're a child of God. And not only are a child of God, but you are a Christian. So we shouldn't be ashamed to state that we are a Christian. And watch this, but he says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. And he said, I ain't even ashamed to share the word of God with anybody. And then he says, watch this, I'm not ashamed. He said, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth. So he said, the reason why I'm not ashamed is for number one, when I speak the gospel of Christ to people, it's the power of God. And not only is it the power of God that's being spoken, but watch this, the power of God brings about salvation. It changes people, it saves lives. So it's like we walking around here with the cure of COVID-19 and we just quiet about it. 100,000 people that died, but yet we got the cure to it, but yet we quiet about it. As long as it don't get me, I'm good.
I think the reason that we're quiet about it is because just what Paul addresses in that text. We are ashamed that we once had. And so, in order for us to help the young lady that's going through adultery or the young man that's peddling drugs, we got to come and meet them where they are. Because there's no power in our witness, because we're trying to help them from up on a pedestal.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And they're down in the slums. And we acting like we ain't never been in the slums. We acting like we ain't never had dirt on us. So we can't help people until we come down, condescend to where they are. I don't care how much you know. If you're talking over my head, I'm not going to get what you're trying to say. But if you come and talk to me about what you've been through and what I'm going through, and you said something at the beginning of the class, and that is, we must be relevant. If you're not relevant, then you can't help me. Because my soul is crying out for help. I'm crying out for help. But when you come to me from a position of superiority. Because you got your business fixed. And you've forgotten what happened 3 short verses earlier when Paul said that you are a debtor, we are a slave to Christ. Because he paid the debt that we could not pay. So, all of this, Sister Robinson, is relevant, and we have to be forceful in telling our story and sharing it, because you may not think that your story is all that grand. I can guarantee you that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that can be moved and led to salvation based on every person in your testimony, if you were willing to share. But see, in order to share it, we got to admit that we used to be. And don't let people shame you into not being grateful for what God has done in your life. That's why Paul said, I am not ashamed, because that's what people will do. They will shame you. And you know what? Even after we've been saved and we've been called out of darkness into the marvelous light, like I said a couple weeks ago, God won't even call. No matter how much you fall down and stumble and miss the mark, which is just sin, God knew you would fall. He knew you were prone to mess up, but he still chose you to lead and usher his people into his presence through song. He still chose you to lead and usher his people into his presence through prayer. He still chose you to lead and usher his people through word and doctrine. So it does not matter. And Doug said in wrapping up in the recap of last week, Does your sin change your anointing? It does not change your anointing. It might hinder who God has called you to be for a while. But your anointing is your anointing. God don't need no take backs.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, you have a story to tell and you have it in your heart, but you can't find a way to tell it. How do you say it? You can't find a way to tell it, or every time you get ready to tell it, something stops you. But if you keep holding on and continue to want to do this, the Lord will place you in a place where you can tell your story. You may be trying to tell your story to a crowd. And you don't need to tell your story to one people.
Yeah, you gotta tell it to one person.
But I'm just saying out, physically.
Well, and again,
Because God already knows.
it all wraps itself back to the first statement that Paul made. Well, I'm not ashamed. And like I said, a lot of us are ashamed of our story. Now the question I would have is, why are you ashamed of your story? If that's what you've been bought from, guess what? That's what you've been bought from. If that's who you was, guess what? That's who you was. That ain't who I am now. Because at this point in time, I'm a child of God. That's what I was. But I'm no longer that. And that's how we have to start seeing our story. And there's power in our story. Because, and like I said, we have to be relevant. And the first thing them young kids gonna say, people out there on the streets, you don't know my story. No, I don't know your story, but from looking at it, it was something like mine. So now when I be relevant in telling my story, and bits and pieces match with bits and pieces of his, guess what? They be like, their ears perk up.
Very like I found too, in my own spiritual growth, I laugh at myself and say, I refuse to be blackmailed because of my past. I'll tell on myself before I let you tell me.
Yeah.
And I think I've grown to know and learn, that shows your spiritual growth because, like you said, sometimes we're ashamed of our past, and then too, we're ashamed of what people are going to say about our past, or they're going to try to blackmail us, spiritually blackmail us with it. And when we go ahead and tell on ourselves, they don't have nothing.
Yeah, if you told your story,
You take away
what
their
do they
position.
got to tell?
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line. Because here's the thing, they got a story to tell too.
Truth be told.
If truth be told, we all got a story to tell because we all sinners saved by grace. In fact, the business is, we all did something just today.
I say spiritual amnesia. They don't forgot.
There's plenty that died and going to hell, folks, but guess what? We got a good benefit package.
Right.
So here's the thing. When we don't tell our story, we are missing out in the power of God being used through us. Watch this, to bring someone else salvation. And here's the sad thing about it, is that we got people in our own families. We don't even have to go to a stranger to tell the story. We have people in our own families that we can tell the story to, and they can get the story and be like, I get it now. Because that's what they saw you live through. They witnessed it. And watch this. I heard a joker told me, well, if God saved you, it's hope for everybody. I got offended first because I wasn't that good I was fresh. I'm like, Negro, what you trying to say? I'm just saying, if you can save you, it's hope for everybody. I know what he's saying, you know, but don't nobody want to be told that you was a nasty person. Or you was just something bad to deal with. I mean, but if it's the truth, it's the truth. And watch this, your story has so much power. Watch this. Paul told his story so good, he almost converted King Agrippa. He had said, man, you almost got me. The story had him pulled and drawn in because your story comes from your heart. You know, a sinner already know they're a sinner. A dope fiend already know they're a dope fiend. What they need to know is what stops you from being a dope fiend and how did you get over this? I never did heroin or nothing like that, so I couldn't relate to that. Because all I would say was, I don't understand how you just sit up there and be that stupid to shoot something up in your arm. Now, if you talk to me about Remy Martin and reefer and selling drugs or something like that, I'll tell you this story about that. Because I did that. So, now I can't relate. You get what I'm saying? To somebody else. So that's why it's important for you to tell your story. Because they can relate to you.
Brother Teacher, we have an answer from a question from a minute ago. I might be running the audio visual, but I'm not really good at it. So, to the question, Paul gives several reasons for why he wants so badly to come to Rome. He wanted to strengthen the believers. There were spiritual gifts, Romans 1:11. He wants to mutually encourage along with them about each other's faith in Christ, Romans 1:12. In addition, he wanted to lead many more people to faith in Christ, both among this group of readers and among other Gentiles or non-Jewish people. It's a lengthy answer, but I just wanted to share it since we do have people that are chiming in.
All right.
Sister Barbara J. Williams said, thanks for chiming in. I posed a question online, and I'm not going to share this answer to the online class because I want them to chime in even after we end the discussion. And the question was, are you able, and they can thank Sister Robinson for this, are you able to evangelize? Are you able to evangelize? I would love for those who are still tuned in to comment on that. And we will get with you all before we start next week's class. We'll have a different curriculum. However, the question is, are you able to evangelize? And evangelize simply means to spread the word or tell the story. And when we cut the tape, I'm going to ask y'all that are present, are you able to evangelize?
Now, Sister Robson, you had something that you was going to say before about the story? No, don't back that now. You said if you don't tell your story, I remember what you said now. All right. And again, we just go over what Paul says about you not telling your story. He simply says, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. For it is the power of God, watch this, unto salvation. To whom? To everyone that believeth. So guess what? If you told your story and you got somebody to believe, then guess what? If Christ did that for her, Christ can do it for me. And I want to try this Christ thing out. Guess what you're going to tell? Salvation. That's the biggest gift you can give anybody. But if we don't say nothing, then you let that person still walk around in darkness, dead to the world.
So are you guilty?
Are you guilty? Well, you have to take that up with the Lord. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I mean, you missed the opportunity. And you may feel a certain kind of way, but that's when you open up. I didn't see all that in there.
lost opportunity when I had a chance to do it.
If the Lord was punishing us, well, we is getting punished right now. That's why this COVID out here.
But if the Lord, if the Lord wants you to tell your story, even though you may have missed that particular opportunity, he can send somebody back. Yeah, you got it, because he's a God, not of a second chance, but of another chance.
You opportunity, grace and mercy.
Well, here's the thing, and this ain't scriptural, it's not, none of that. But here's the thing. If God sent this person to you, for you to share your story with them, and you didn't share your story, then that person just leaves off. I believe the kind of God I serve, he'll send that person back around because you got something for that person here. Now, I believe that your spirit will grieve you so much so that you say, next time I see that person, I'm going to talk to them about what the Lord have on my mind. Now, I also think now, if he sent that person to you, and you talked to them about it, and they just walked away like it, now that was on him. So I don't think God will fault the person for coming to get something and you didn't give it to him, as he would have fault him for coming to get it, you gave it to him and they rejected it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
There's a lot of stories right here in the Word of God.
Yeah.
When you start picking up these stories of the Word of God, usually it leads to your story.
Yeah.
Or how you came to your salvation came about. You know, when you start telling a story about God or you know, in life and stuff like that, it'll lead to you. The Holy Spirit lead you to tell your story. You told how Jesus Christ died for our sins, blah, blah, blah. He saved me, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you lead.
So you tell your story. Yeah.
Telling somebody, and then that's another thing that the Holy Spirit works with you. You know, you might ask, now, would I tell my story too? But the Holy Spirit is trying to work with that.
Oh, yeah, that's what Bible study is for. We all got input. So did y'all get what Deacon Robinson said? He said even when you use the Word of God and the stories that's in the Bible, it'll still leave you an opportunity to tell your story, to magnify and bring it to true application.
You get yourself saying, I remember the time when.
Yeah. So that will conclude this Bible study lesson, and Pastor have another lesson for us. I mean, again, we didn't get through all this, but we're going to start up the Sunday school curriculum since we're not having Sunday school, so we'll be working through the Sunday school books now.
Amen.
It don't mean we won't come back to this afterwards at a later date. So y'all hold on to your stuff. But just remember, you got the power of God in you